Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, brothers and sisters all over the world. Habari za Sabui, Habari za Mchana, Habari za Jioni, brothers and sisters all over the world. And yes, I am talking to each and every one of you all over the world. The name of this channel is The African Times, and I'm Thomas. All right, in this broadcast of the Night Chat, and we're going to talk about freedom. Freedom. Freedom in the way that it is used under propaganda. So I guess I really should say we're going to talk about propaganda and how propaganda is used to give you a particular view of freedom. All right, well, let's get started. All right, so, there you go. I see you, and now you can see me. All right, everybody, we're going to get started. Yeah, like I was saying, we're going to talk a little bit about propaganda. It's very important to understand propaganda and its economic impact on us as a people. Propaganda is a word that it's not used a lot. They don't really use it a great deal, and it's such a powerful presence in our lives. It's in everything that we do, everything that we think, everything we don't think. In the lives of our children, in the lives of, in all the areas of people activity, we're impacted by propaganda. And propaganda really has, it's kind of like the root word of it, but there's so many things that are propagandistic in nature that we have to evaluate propaganda and understand how it's used. So we're going to talk a little bit about it tonight, and about its use in projecting freedom around the world. Okay, where I'm from, as many of you know, I'm came from W World, U.S. All right, and they are like the masters of the use of propaganda. So what is propaganda? When I'm talking about it, it's a nice fancy word. It's real cute. It used to be used more by the elders back in the day. Our older brothers, since they understood it fully, because they coming out of World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea, what have you, particularly World War II. They were exposed to the term openly. Now it just kind of became an academic thing. People don't really use it a great deal. So, but we're gonna talk about it so you understand it. So, propaganda, what is it? Well, the dictionary, you got, Webster, Merriam-Webster dictionary. Now here's propaganda right here. It's presented to you, Merriam-Webster, as the Webster dictionary when I was a little kid, but then they combined it, as if like this is the authority on language. Even the English language is the authority, because it's what they put forth as the credible, authentic source, that if information about what a word means or how it's used, or communication in the English language coming from there, it is absolutely infallible. It's right. It's what it is. They choose that. A group of people, they just choose it. So, according to Merriam-Webster, propaganda is ideas or statements that are often false or exaggerated, and that are spread in order to help a cause, a political leader, a government, etc. This is their definition. So again, propaganda is ideas or statements that are often false or exaggerated. It's very important to understand that. ideas or statements that are often false or exaggerated and that are spread in order to help a cause. To help a cause. Got to understand that part. Or to help a political leader or a government. Now, just randomly, I think it's, if you Google it, whatever comes up before you get to the specific Webster area, they give you another definition. Information, especially of a biased nature, used to promote a political cause or point of view. Okay? You understand? Information is very important to understand because ideas are statements, information. So you see, they're saying the same thing, especially of a biased nature. All right? Now, biased nature. If you say biased nature, what you're talking about, bias means I'm more for one than I am for the other, or more for this group than I am for that group. Biased. That means somebody is receiving an advantage from the information. Somebody is being disadvantaged by the information. That information is used to promote a political cause or point of view. Now, after a while, you live a little while, you realize everything is political. Everything. There is not one thing that's not political. Nothing. A pencil is political. And you want me to give you an example? All right. Let's say you live in a city. It's a big city. One of the cities I'm from is Detroit. Okay. Well, Detroit, let's say, I remember one time, I can't remember what the number was. I don't know. They might have had, I don't know, 200,000 students in high school or something. I don't remember. But whatever the number is, let's say 400,000 students all together from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade. But I think it's something like 200,000 something. But whatever it is, if you're the person with the contract to supply pencils to the Detroit school district, you can be wealthy just off of that. Pencil now. Just a pencil. Well, that's a contract that you have with the city. Political. Because to get that contract has to be awarded to you. By who? Groups of people. How do they get the board members? How do the board members get elected? Are they elected? Are they appointed? If they're appointed, who appointed them? Was this person an elected official? Do you understand? Politics. Then you now, through the political process, have determined where all of this wealth is going. The person who supplies the pencils. Now, that's just a pencil. But remember, you got pencils, chalkboards, if they still use them, computers, mice, the mouse for the computer, the laptop, the course, the IT contract. Do you understand? The brick, the mortars, all of that economic, all of that economic activity, all of it, politically decided by a group of people. All right? So now, if propaganda is used to promote a political cause, and we know that the information is especially of a biased nature, then what they're telling you is that it's of a biased nature. I mean, we're going to prefer one group over the other, or one individual over the other, and it's to promote a political cause, a political point of view. Now, if your point of view is that you're a particular group of people, not people who look like you and me, people who don't look like you and me, if that particular group of people who don't look like me and you have a point of view that their group should have most of the economic benefits and your group should not, but all of the students look like you and me, and they're not benefiting financially from that, the city looks like you and me, then that means now you got to present to those people ideas and statements that are most likely going to be false or exaggerated. You got to spread that out to them to help your cause, which is to get them to give you the contract as a non-African looking person, and for them people to be okay with that. Now, how do you get those people to do that? How do you get those people to say it's okay for us to take this multi-million-dollar contract that we know our people need, because our people need jobs, and we know we got people who can manufacture those pencils and they could do that, but we're not going to give it to you. We're going to give it to those people out over there who don't look like us, and we're going to all be okay with that. In fact, we're going to be so okay with it that we're going to encourage you to do it. Hey, give it to them. Those people are good. They know what they're doing. How do you get people to change their thinking and their rationale and their own basic survival instinct, their own natural instinct? How do you get them to harm themselves and think that what they're doing is good? You do that through propaganda. You do it through propaganda. So remember, ideas or statements that are often false or exaggerated and that are spread in order to help a cause, a political leader, or a government. All right, so let's go in. You got a good idea of what propaganda is. It's anything that is said or done in any way to put forward a particular idea. It could be even promote an individual or government. So now, just hearing those definitions lets me know immediately that people in control of any organization, corporation, or government, or both, would find the use of that word very helpful when it comes to maintaining their control over their organization, even their control over a group of people, or their control over a government. It would be even especially helpful to them if they want to take control of a group of people or government. Now, I know, as bad as this sounds, and it's really, really bad when it's used for bad. I'm talking about propaganda. When it's used for bad or for negative purposes, with all the false statements and the biased information, you have to remember, the use of that propaganda can be used positively. Yes, propaganda is just not for negative purposes. When it's negative, it's really, really bad. It can do very, very bad things to people. Like in the example I told you with the pencil. Black people, African people, we need jobs. But if we say, okay, no, we don't have to give it a job, go give it to those people over there. Let them work in their families and their neighborhoods and feed their families and build their houses. Let them do that, because that's a good thing. Because we want to show that we're caring people and we're willing to share. We're willing to, be multicultural, and we want to help everybody. Now, your children starving, struggling, no jobs, no summer. Your children starving, but all these people doing well. But you feel good because you feel like you did a morally good thing. Okay, all right. Now, but what if you use propaganda positively for your own benefit, to spread your own statements, even if they're false? But false statements to help encourage your people to believe that they can achieve certain things, even if you exaggerated certain things, right? As long as it's positive and for the purpose of benefiting your group or organization, then good. Just like they're using it, that's a good thing. Now, this is the point where it's critical for us as African people, to understand how we can use propaganda to help us be against, prevent, slow down, negate, delay, stop, block, reverse all the negative damage done to our people by their negative propaganda. We can use positive propaganda. False statements, exaggerated statements, they don't have to be false, they can be exaggerated. Let me give you an example. Let's take that same pencil example, right? Okay. So, the school board, wants to give the contract out for building pencils. And we all know a brother in the neighborhood, he been building pencils for years, but he ain't never done a big contract because, nobody offered him one because they're giving it to everybody else that don't look like us. So we all get together and use some positive propaganda. Everybody start writing letters. Oh man, look, hey, look, y'all, the city needs a contract. And I'm talking writing letters to the board members, the politicians, whoever they are. Just to give you an example. Oh man, we got this dude in the neighborhood. This brother's bad. He's been building pencils for years. This dude makes the best pencil you don't ever see. Listen, I use one of these pencils. I can tell you from a personal standpoint, this brother's pencils are great. I'm writing with them. They're nice and crisp. They give you nice solid crisp look on the paper. When you press down on the pencil, the lead is solid. It doesn't break. I mean, it's great. His erasers are real smooth. When you erase it erases the whole black pencil mark. It don't leave nothing. I mean, this dude has got the best pencils. Now, he may not have the best pencils. His pencils may be just as good as the other ones, no different. But you see, I exaggerated the statement. I exaggerated the pencil. I promoted the idea to the people because we wrote letters to the people. Do you understand? Now, let's say they don't hire the dude. But a private school hears the promotion. Private school owned by people that look like me and you. And they say, well, he didn't get the big contract, but obviously he's capable of doing a big contract because he applied for the big contract so he can handle our little school. Now, this might be the biggest contract he ever had, this little school. But now he's in the game. Do you understand? You got to really understand how these people are using this kind of information against us, but we can do it too. Okay? So again, like I told you, we've got to understand as African people how these people are using the propaganda against us, and we've got to use our own positive propaganda to negate, delay, stop, block, prevent, and reverse the negative damage inflicted on our people by people who, they want to use their propaganda to hurt us. It's what it is. It's nothing we can do about it. Now, as I said before, and I will keep saying, us, people that look like you and me, we must and we will look at this situation from an African perspective and consciousness. And we have to look at it and look at how our lives and our circumstances are impacted economically by the use of propaganda. So let's get to it. So now, first, there are those among us we know who already think and probably thinking right now, right this very minute, that the use of propaganda by people to dominate us, or used by people like other people to dominate us, various groups that don't look like us, that to think that those people are actually using that propaganda is just conspiracy talk and crazy paranoid talk. Okay. Now, and that even if there were people trying to use propaganda to influence and control the thoughts and actions of people, it would never work. I mean, there are people out there who think that even if these people were actually trying to do it, that using propaganda to control how people think, that it would never work. Why? Because you know what they say. People are free to make their own decisions and their own choices, and people can do whatever they want to do. They can choose whatever they want to choose. Now, the only thing I have to say to that is that is precisely the type of thinking by these types of people that provide the proof of the use of propaganda. And it demonstrates the effectiveness of this tactical use of power to influence, coerce, and control the thoughts and activities of people. Look, if you are one of those people who think in this way, I got to tell you, you're a victim of the effective use of propaganda. See, the propaganda is used in that way to make you think, I'm free to do whatever I want to do. I'm free to think whatever I want to think, and I can choose to do whatever I want to do. Let me give you an example. So, when I was going to school, and I'm talking about on the university level, college level, whatever. When you go to school, these people in one of the courses that we have to take is mandatory. Is back then. Remember, I'm an old dude, but back then you had to take Psych 101. Psych 101. Yeah, man. What do you want? I want to be a psychiatrist. Psych 101. Well, in Psych 101, they give you this. You read in this book about. I can't remember the guy's name. I think Leonard. No. Anyway, this Skinnerian rat. They give you this story. Some psychiatrist, whatever he was. He takes this rat, and I think how the story goes, and I don't remember exactly, but generally this is it. He puts the rat in a maze. A maze, the rat can run all around all these different ways. He go this way, he's blocked. If he turns this way, he can go around. Then he can blocked again. And the rat's got to find, gets in one way, and he got to find his way out on the other side. Okay, and he's got all of these different ways. Now, remember the people studying the rat. They put the rat in the maze. The rat's running around. So eventually they want to start testing. Can they control the rat's movement, the direction the rat is going to go? Now the rat is still in the maze. So they want to see what the rat's reactions are, what the rat's I guess thoughts are, what the rat is going to do to go in a different direction. So let's say the rats run around, they burn that part of the floor. Rat run over there, it gets hot. The rat, my feet burning. So the rat turns around and goes a different direction. So eventually, let's just say the rat gets out. Now, I'm just kind of going along with the story here. The rat gets out. The rat was going different directions. They can kind of change the rat's direction. The rat remembers, oh, when I went that way, it burned my feet. I'm not going to go that way anymore. So, but the rat is free to choose when it's confronted with an area where, oh, that was where they burned me. I'm going to go this way or I'm going to go that way. The rat is free to choose to go right or left in this example, just an example. Now, eventually the rat gets out. So we're taught that you can condition, you can, through certain behavioral changes or whatever you're going to do, you can alter the rat's, course and change and behavior. Okay? The rat can be trained or whatever. All right. Now they got you directed over here thinking about that, the direction of the rat and how you can do these different things to change the rat. But they don't tell you that there is a power relationship taking place. That the person putting the rat in the box is conducting a different type of study. That person putting the rat in the box is exercising a study of the use of power, the use of force over an individual. The ability to be able to change conditions and to implement tactics and strategies to force a particular reaction by the rat, coerce a particular reaction by the rat, persuade the rat to do something else. You see? Now, the other thing is, if this person understands, the person in control who put the rat in the maze, if they understand that you can remove the rat and replace the rat or mouse or whatever it is with any being, anything, or what? A person. Now, if you use a person and you create the maze, person, we think the person in the maze is free to choose right or left too. And they know if they go that way and they touch the doorknob, just as an example, they touch the doorknob, oh, it burns them. Then the person's going to think, oh, I remember, that door, I used that one before. I ain't using that one again because every time I touch it, it burned me. So that I can't go that way. I got to go a different way. All right? So the person eventually goes and they get out. All right. When the person gets out and you pop up because you're an interviewer, okay, hey man, you went through the study and how was it and what did you do and how? Well, hey, I was in there, but let me tell you something. I was working my program, and when I ran into a situation that didn't work out, so I figured it out. I thought I better go over this way and I could do this, and I worked myself, so I made it up. So the interviewer goes, okay, well, cool, man. So you mean you were free to use your brain and your talent to figure out how you can pull yourself up by the bootstraps, remember, and then get out. Is that what you did? And the guy's like, yeah, man. You got a lot of choices when you face with tragedy, or you face with some kind of situation, but I thought my way out of it. Okay, cool. Sounds real good, right? And he thinks he did that. But what they don't tell you, again, the person who put him in the maze is the person with the power. That was the person that was doing the thinking, not him, not the person going through the maze. He wasn't doing any thinking really at all. All of his thoughts were given to him. They were given to him. Every single thought, completely. There's not one thought, once he's put in that maze, there's not one thought that he has just on his own. So you have to understand, he got put in the maze. Once he got put in the maze, the control of his entire life was taken from him. How? Okay, well, let's just say, as an example, what if there was no way to get out the maze? Because they locked all the doors, and everywhere you go, all the doors were closed. But the person put you in the maze. You have to ask yourself, what was I doing before I got put in this maze? You stay in the maze long enough, you'll forget. If I put a couple of people in there with you, a girl, y'all have sex, y'all have some kids, they grow up in that maze, they don't know anything about life outside of that maze. So now every thought that they have from the moment they got put in that maze is about life in the maze. Choices, if they said I'm gonna go left, they didn't make that choice. The person who designed the maze made all the choices. You can go left or you can go right. Now you can choose to go left or right, but that wasn't your choice. You were reacting to the situation and condition that you were placed in. Not freedom of choice. No, that was taken away. Okay? So, even if they let you get out, they chose where you would come out. And if they design a large enough maze, they can control how long you stay in the maze. When they burn the doorknob when you touch it, they controlled whether or not you go past that point. Nope, we ain't letting them pass that. You're going to burn that knob. You're going to touch it. He can't go there. So when you go, oh man, I was smart. I every time I saw a doorknob, that I remembered I remembered mine. I made my choice. Now they control what you're thinking about. Before you go to a doorknob, what do you think? I got to make sure this doorknob is not hot. You have no thought at all other than your life inside the maze. Now, this is what they're really teaching you. But because they don't want you to learn, the only one who's really learning is the controller. And what they're learning is how to control. That's it. That's the lesson. That information is passed on to generation of controllers. You who are being controlled, you only get taught the propaganda, which is I'm making you education. I'm teaching you how the human mind works. Propaganda. Okay, so I hope you understand that. You think about that, rewatch it if you want, learn and understand what I'm saying. Okay, so now to give you a real life example of the use of propaganda as a strategic use of power. Because remember I told you the person in control, that's the power. It's power. You got to understand power. They don't even teach us how to think about power. They don't want us to know. We'll never get no classes on power. I never had one. I never had anybody even talk to me about power. I had to talk to you about political power. Again, just like the person in the maze. Nonsense. Nonsense. Not control. Political power. Political power there. You told it it's the politician and it's the no, somebody's controlling the politician. You understand? Those people are just there to guide you through the maze and keep you thinking about stuff that doesn't matter. So, to give you again a real life example of the use of propaganda as a strategic use of power, and propaganda is an element of power, let's take a look at the history of war waged by the United States. You know, the country that promotes itself as the leader of freedom and democracy, the defender of human rights. Okay. All right, so let's see if these wars waged without, or if these wars were waged with or without the use of propaganda. And if the principles of freedom and democracy